JuJu Watkins erases slump in sensational fashion as no. 6 USC defeats no. 1 UCLA. USC's JuJu Watkins scores while being fouled by UCLA's Jania Barker in the fourth quarter of the Trojans' 71-60 win Thursday at Gallon Center. Watkins finished with 38 points, 11 rebounds, 8 blocks, and 5 assists. Wally Scalich / Los Angeles Times. JuJu Watkins is used to feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. It was how she was brought up on the basketball court, long before USC, when she was just a young phenom from Watts, programmed to shoulder whatever burden was placed on her and her otherworldly talent. Anything to be great, it's in her nature, more muscle memory than conscious thought at this point. When the moment calls for it, Watkins never hesitates. Those moments came in thrilling succession Thursday, asking more and more of Watkins, who just kept answering and answering, bending one of the biggest games of her career and the college basketball season to her will. After a weeks-long slump seemingly sapped Watkins of her on-court joy, it was clear she recaptured it against top-ranked UCLA. Carrying USC with 38 points, she also energized the Trojans' defense, swatting one shot after another, 8 in total, with each block sending a sold-out crowd of 10,258 at Gallon Center into pandemonium. Read more: mistakes on defense and turnovers prove costly for UCLA in first loss. It was a performance for the ages, the sort of night worth braving a driving rain for, the sort of game USC coach Lindsay Gottlieb said she would talk about for years to come. But when the moment reached a peak in the final minutes, Watkins wasn't alone in lifting no. 6 USC to a 71-60 victory and ending UCLA's unbeaten run. Of course, the star sophomore almost solely ushered the Trojans to that point, pouring in everything she had to become the only player with at least 35 points, 5 blocks, and 5 assists in the last 20 seasons of Division I basketball. She also had 11 rebounds. It also was the first time USC appended a no. 1 team since the 1983 national title game against Louisiana Tech and the Trojans' first win over a no. 1 in their home arena. This, Gottlieb said, was a historic Gallon performance. USC's JuJu Watkins tries to drive past UCLA's London Jones in the fourth quarter. JuJu Watkins celebrates after blocking a shot. JuJu Watkins celebrates after making a three-pointer. UCLA's Kiki Rice, bottom, and USC's Avery Howell battle for a loose ball in the fourth quarter. USC's Kennedy Smith drives to the basket in front of UCLA's Jania Barker in the fourth quarter. Wally Scalich / Los Angeles Times more. With the win, the Trojans, 22-2, 12-1, moved ahead of the Bruins, 23-1, 11-1, in the Big Ten standings. Yet, with slightly more than 4 minutes left, it wasn't clear which of the crosstown rivals would emerge on top. UCLA had a 56-55 lead as Watkins backed her way into the paint, waiting for the play to develop. A split second later, freshman guard Avery Howell sprinted open around a screen. Watkins found her, and she fired away from deep, sinking her only 2-point basket of the game, and perhaps the biggest of her season. Next it was Clarice Akonwafo, the Trojans' unheralded backup center, who'd spent all game as a thorn in the side of UCLA's star center, Lauren Betts. Betts tallied 18 points, but made just 38% of her shots, her lowest rate of the season, largely because of Akonwafo and her stifling defense. It was the senior who deflected a late entry pass intended for Betts before chasing it down for a steal to secure what turned into a back-breaking fast-break basket from Kiki Ariafen. It was just a clinic in post-defense, Gottlieb said of Akonwafo's performance. Ariafen rose to the occasion late, shaking off a 1-for-9 start to score 9 of her 13 points in the fourth quarter and finish as the Trojans' second leading scorer. But in the annals of USC basketball history, Watkins' performance will burst from the page. She entered in a 4-game shooting slump, during which she barely scraped 30% from the field. "It has been a tough couple weeks for me," Watkins said. But there's a lesson in everything. I think that is to always stay joyful on the court. That joy came pouring out of Watkins from the start Thursday. She pulled up at the top of the key early and hit one three-pointer, then another. She hit 4 more from deep in the first half, threatening to run the rival Bruins out of the gym. JuJu got really hot from 3. UCLA coach Corey Close said, "She made more threes in the first half than she's made in the last 5 games." Watkins wasn't just dominating from deep. She was just as stellar on the defensive end, hustling to every loose ball and close out and helping double-team bets. Her scorching jumper eventually cooled, opening the door for the Bruins to rally in the second quarter. UCLA opened the third quarter on a 10-0 run, mounting its own threat to run away with the game. "We had to change our energy," Gottlieb said. "I felt like we looked too defeated at that point." So she changed course, entrusting Watkins to double-team bets whenever UCLA sent a pass into the paint. The move paid off, as Watkins delivered in a way no one could have expected by repeatedly blocking Betts' best efforts in the post. "I gotta be better, period," Betts said. "I think towards the end, I was just forcing a lot of tough shots." They only got tougher as USC's defense clamped down and UCLA hit just 2 of 16 shots in the fourth quarter, getting outscored 24-8. As the final seconds ticked down, a thin smile spread across Watkins' face. Her slump was gone. She looked up at the arena, packed to the rafters, then over toward her family courtside, flanked by celebrities. There was Kevin Hart and Issa Rae, and Sana Lathan, one of her favorites, from the movie Love and Basketball. Not to mention all the USC hoops luminaries, all there to see her, to see USC. Her face in that moment, filled with joy. "When people like that show up, you can't disappoint," she said. "I'm really like a kid out there, living out my dreams."